Welcome back, everyone, to our Let's Play series of Motorsport Manager. Now, so far in the first 3 races in Season 3 for us, it has been pretty great. Overall, right now in the team standings, we are second, only 1 point out of first. And in the Drivers' Championships, we are in first right now and 10th. So, if we can manage to get Sergio some better finishes and move him up in the standings, we have a real shot of having a great year. So we're getting ready for event number 4. And if you remember from our previous video, we were working on new brakes, and those are ready to go. Let's go ahead and get those fitted. And so brakes are up here. So we got 45% reliability, a small rules risk. And let's go ahead and do that. So what does this do for us? Well, it takes us, for Sergio, it takes us from 226 to 272. And for Rafael, it takes us from 192 to 226. Okay, don't worry too much about the lowered reliability. That is because we need to repair the car from our race. So let's go ahead and let's see. Okay, there's our car condition. Oh, we've got an interview here we need to take care of. Let's see what we got. Must be delighted with a yes, absolutely, I'm delighted. Why wouldn't I be? So Sergio struggled, finishing down in 12th. Okay, nothing to worry about there. And that increased our happiness a little bit for the chairman. So everything is good there. We've got morale +5 for the next couple of weeks for Rafael due to that. And we've got our new part. Okay, but you see here, we can't change anything yet. That's because we need our car repair to be completed. Okay, car repair finished. So let's go ahead and take care of what we need to here. So what do we have? Let's go ahead and clear things out there because we'll get a fresh look at this. All right, so far so good. Let's see, with our brakes, 73% there. We're no longer going to be using those, and we'll no longer be using these as well. So we're going to go ahead and, I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and just clear this out, and we're going to go ahead and add our new brakes in on both tabs. Hopefully that will stay over to reliability because that's definitely where we're going to need it. And let's see, let's skip down to our engines. I want to make sure that we work on getting the reliability up in our engines even higher so we can push even harder. And then same thing here. Let's see, what do we need? Okay, we're not terribly bad here. Let's go ahead and work on that as well. Okay, so far so good. Let's see if we need anything to improve on performance side of things. It looks like everything is pretty well maxed out, actually. Yeah, everything that we need anyway is pretty well maxed out. Looks like our original gearbox here could use a little bit of work, but overall, I'll tell you what, we'll just leave that off and only go with this. Everything is perfectly fine. The biggest thing, and I'm not sure if the order that these are in makes any difference. So we're going to go ahead and work on this. And we've got 23 days till our next race. And I think we'll be fine to keep these in here. If I didn't think so, I would go ahead and remove all these and simply focus on the new brakes. But I think we're going to be fine there. All right, and with that in mind, it is time to make a new part. So we've got our engine that is going to be increased by our new test track. So that's 2 weeks away. So let's go ahead and keep things going and design a new part. But before we get to that, let's take a look at our graph over here. And let's see in our bar graph where it shows that we are. Okay, right now it shows that we're 9th, which isn't great. However, let's pay particular attention to these arrows. You see up at the top it says the average on the grid are those arrows. Okay, so top speed, we're last. Definitely a good bit of distance between us and the arrow there. However, our acceleration, you can see we're closing in on that arrow. Same thing here on the brakes. We are right at the arrow. So we have the real possibility for at least these two parts to get up at least on par with about average in the field. That's the way I'm looking at that. We're saying this is average. So in this case, again, I'm waiting on the engine. So we're going to go ahead and work on acceleration. Now, under improving parts, we come in for acceleration, which is the gearbox. And you can see we're at 206 and 173 right now. All right, so we need something around 206, if not better. Okay, so let's take a look. We've got two here that we can work on, two slots. And I'm going to go ahead and, let's see, I like the acceleration at plus 20 with no negative consequences. Reliability, I'm not going to mess with. Let's see, acceleration plus 30 with a risk level, acceleration plus 50 with a risk level. Well, that's a pretty easy choice. Let's go ahead and do this. That'll put us up at 247. That's pretty huge. Now, you say, okay, what happens if we back off of that a little bit and go with this one? Acceleration plus 10, then a little bit of extra reliability as well. That gets us up to 207. I'm going to take the risk. I think we're at a point now, we're going for broke this season. If we miss out and we get caught, then we just get caught. So we're going to go up to 247 on this one. And I tell you what, let's see. Okay, yeah, it's not going to let us. It's the third iteration. I was thinking that we could get to the great components. But let's take a real quick look at what those imply. Now here, you can see for $1 million, we can lower our risk level, which would mean that we could have this same 247 out of 256 without any risk. But of course, that costs quite a bit of money. I'm not interested at all in this one because just on wet tires and inters. But then here, you look at risk level plus 1 at a plus 60. So huge gains can be made here. And what I'm imagining is happening is the AI are probably using some medium to high risk products. And that's why they're getting some huge jumps in performance. But we're going to try to stay low risk. I'm not saying that for sure I'm not going to go medium or high risk on anything, but I want to make sure that I'm very careful about doing that. All right, so this will be done 8 days before the race. That's not really a concern for me because reliability will force us not to use this product, I think. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and get started on that. It's going to cost us 1.15 million, so quite a bit of money, but it is definitely worth it. Okay, and actually, I've changed my mind a little bit on this. I want to focus purely on that because I've got an idea for what we can do once our new part gets developed as well. So let's come in and take a look at our sponsors. We've got a sponsorship for a bonus with first place and then 12th place. Let's see what our new sponsor involves. So with these two, it seems a pretty clear choice for me. I know, one wants a podium, the other one wants 6th place, which is nice to have that in place. But 1.5 million up front is hard to bypass. That means I would have to use this one over here and get it twice just to come close to the amount of money. So for me, it's pretty much a no-brainer. Let's take the chance. Let's get the upfront money and then also a huge bonus for finishing third as well. So we'll get that money in here, and I like it. Now, you notice that one more race on 3 different sponsorships here, 2 fixed payment and 1 race bonus sponsor. So hopefully we can increase the amount of money we're getting just on a fixed rate percentage. Okay, so let's see. Let's go ahead and fast forward a little bit here. Okay, looks like our reliability work is about to be done, and that will actually be done. Okay, let's go ahead, and now that that is done, reliability work is complete, and it's telling me the staff are idle. Well, not for very long, you won't be. We've got our HQ, 4 more days. We're done with the test track. I am extremely excited about that. 5 more days, we'll be done with the new gearbox, and then we'll jump right into engine development as well. Okay, so what do we want to do here? Well, I wanted to get that one part really increased. Okay, now let's go ahead and add back let's see that part. Let's see. Let's make sure everything's above 70 if at all possible for our next race. 75 and 6 is good there. And of course, we're going to have a new gearbox ready to go pretty shortly, which is going to be a huge jump over this 206. Okay, I think I just want to have this one for a couple more days, see if we can get that to 70, and then we'll have our new part ready as well. Okay, that gets us up to 69, and now we're going to go ahead and sim the first tier event. Let those events come through. There we go. So now we've got a couple of things going on. Our car, our new gearbox still has a day before it's done, but now we're at 79% here. So that is huge. So by simply focusing on just this one item rather than filling up all of them, we're able to get some very quick reliability done there. All right, so now we're at 79% here, 100% there. So we got no problems pushing the car in the next race if we need to. Same thing with the engine. It could be close if we try to basically redline it the entire time and use the maximum amount of power and fuel usage. But I think 72 is a good number for a minimum. Anything below about 70, I'm uncomfortable with pushing the entire race. Gearbox, same thing here. Of course, let's go ahead and put, let's see. Well, it's not going to do us much good to do this, but we'll go ahead and put it in here for another day. And again, this is going to now be the number 2 gearbox here very shortly. Okay, and the biggest thing is we've now got a test track. Of course, it's going to cost us money, $103,000 per race, which is a ton of money, by the way. But it's a nice little test track we've got here, and we know that it's going to increase our driver's cornering and overtaking ability. So that I'm really in favor of. And of course, we can upgrade this even further. And if we do, we get even more benefits for our engine, move up to the epic parts, and then also faster improvement for our drivers. So I'm very excited about this. And let's go ahead and move forward a little bit. Okay, that gets us our new part done. Let's go ahead and fit those parts. Again, the great thing is, even though our parts are not identical between the two cars, every time we step up with a new part, we get great benefits for both drivers. So Sergio moves from 206 to 247. And then Rafael moves from 173 to 206. So we're definitely improving. Now, what do we want to design next? Well, of course, I want to go back to the engine. But first, let's come back in here. We're still at 9th right now. We're last in engine. We are now 8th in acceleration and 8th here on brakes. So we got to make up some ground here. Now, we've got an option here. We could improve the brakes or the gearbox again and try to pull ahead. But I think we're so far behind at this particular point in time on engine that we really need to try to catch up. Besides, engines are vital no matter what. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we can get. First of all, I like top speed at plus 30. I also like top speed at plus 40. And none of these have a risk level. I mean, the 25 to max with the risk level just isn't worth it. So let's go ahead and do this. So we get a plus 30, and then we're going to use, and we're going to add 5 days to our build time, which is perfectly fine, and open up an additional goods slot. So we're going to do that. And what do we want to do? Well, we want to add 40 to the max here. Again, no risk level with this. And then while we're here, we'll take a look at what will be available the next time we develop an engine. So again, you've got this same idea for $1 million, you can reduce your risk level, which could definitely be worth it, particularly later in the season if you really want to max things out and go from medium risk to low risk. Then you've got, let's see, reliability. I don't worry about that. Not particularly concerned with that. So, wow, I'm a little disappointed with the options we have available there. But what I'm not disappointed in is the fact that we can have an engine with 229 as the max. So let's go ahead and build that part. Okay. So remember that number 229. Well, you can see right now we're at 154 and 179. So this would make us a pretty sizable jump up for both of my drivers as far as that goes. But what are we in here right now to do? Well, we're in here for the gearbox. Let's go ahead and remove both of these because they're now over 80. And we've only got 7 days, but if there is any way possible, I want to try to increase as much as I possibly can for this new part. Okay, let's make sure everything else is looking good. So far, so good. Everything is above 70. Okay, we're in good shape. Let's see how high we can get for this reliability. Okay, go ahead and move things forward. And we're going to let the second tier go ahead and run their race. Okay, oddly enough, they are actually in America at Phoenix, an oval, which is a little bit of an odd entry into the game, unless you think they're foreshadowing a little bit about some future projects. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. I hope they are. Let's put it that way. All right, so we're down to race day. Let's take a look and see where we ended up. Wow, that is huge. So, of course, you see here we got almost to the max there, but 79%. We went from 40 to 79. What that goes to show me is that there are huge gains to be made by increasing or upgrading your factory. Huge gains to be made there. I feel great now about the impact that we can have going forward in our races. Okay, let's go ahead and continue on. Let's choose our sponsor. 1.5 million would be a lot to win, but 1.2 million for a third place finish. Let's push the envelope. Let's continue to push for part development and better finishes. We're going to really push these drivers hard and the cars hard. We do have some parts here with some rules risk, but that's the risk we take. And we're going to go ahead with that. Let's see. I believe everything is all set, and it's time to race. Our practice session just ended, and I'm absolutely ecstatic about the setups that we have for the race. You can see here, now this practice session enabled me to get 3 nice stints in. So not only do we have bonuses that we normally have, but they're bigger than we normally have. Normally we get 10% bonuses. Now we have 15% bonuses for race trim and the tires. So that's big time. Okay, let's take a quick look at the setups, which were great. Started out really good for Sergio and then was able to, make it a little bit better. 96% is amazing. We'll go ahead and use the soft tires and full of fuel. Now, we don't have an option here for a one-stop race, which is perfectly fine with me. And, we might actually, if we really ran very conservative on the fuel. But that I don't think is a good enough option for us in this race. We're going to start 11th with Sergio. And if we come over to Rafael, of course, he is first in the standing, so he starts last. And he has 97%. So, again, very happy with where we are here. Same thing on the tire choice. And he will be full of fuel as well. Now, the option here would be maybe I go a little bit softer or a little bit harder on the tire, which super soft and soft. So a little bit harder of the two options available. But you just really can't beat speed. And I think we'll be good enough on the tires to make them last the length of time we need them to. So basically, we're trying to go 7 laps, 6 and 6 is probably what I'm going to aim for here. All right, so let's go driver strategy. Both of them will be going very hard from the beginning. And I'm going to start out with Sergio pushing. And we're going to go ahead and start neutral for Rafael. I want to see what the tire heat does between the two here. If I need to adjust those, I will definitely do so. And let's go ahead and get this race started. So Tondela is a track I've had some mixed feelings about in the past. We'll see how the race goes today. Okay, we're underway. Let's go ahead and speed things up. And we're hoping Sergio can really get going well. The biggest thing here is, as always, no accidents. Let's just, even if you lose spots, let's just make sure that we've got what we need come time for everyone to start pitting. Okay, so now we're 16th and 18th. Take a quick look at tire heat. Not too bad. Looks like Sergio is coming in very nice. And then slightly below that is Rodriguez. Okay, but again, not bad at all. Okay, so now we've dropped back to 17th and 20th. So the speed just not getting it done right now. Okay, so we're starting to heat up the tires a little bit, so I'm going to back off. There's going to be plenty of time in this race for us to push. Now is not quite that time just yet. All right, we're showing plenty of fuel left here. Now is the time where I'm going to go ahead and start to push with Sergio. Let's have him go ahead and push the car. And we've backed off a little bit on his cornering, but we've increased his straightaway speed and acceleration. So I'm hoping that that will enable him to gain some spots here and gain some time as pit stops begin. All right, so we're getting ready to come onto the front straightaway. You can see that we've got a lot of pitting going on. Now, let's go ahead and spin the camera around so we can see pit road. All right, so we're up to now 3rd and 6th. Okay, let's make the best of this possible time in not exactly clean air, because second place is pretty close to us, but we're in cleaner air than we were before. All right, so now we're up to 1st as more pit stops happen. Okay, we're going to set up our first pit stop now. So we've used up our tires, you can see here. So they served their purpose. Okay, so we're going to be pitting on lap 7. So that makes me feel good about our first stint. We'll go ahead and fill everything up. Condition-wise, we're looking pretty good. That's not bad at all. And we look to come out just outside the top 10. All right, but right now we really need to push. You can see here that tires have really heated up. But again, we're about to come in for a pit stop. So while that's not optimum, it's not the end of the world either. We'll swap back to Rodriguez here. And now, so he's got just enough fuel. I think we're going to have him go ahead and push hard to the end, and we'll set up his pit stop. So fuel options. Okay, so we've got 8 laps of fuel there. Of course, that will enable us to really push the car hard. Strategy balanced will come out pretty close to Sergio, it looks like. But all in all, we'll pick up a few spots in this whole initial round of pit stops. All right, so we pick up 2nd place here. And let's see if we can continue to push. All right, so Sergio comes out in 12th, which is pretty much where they had said we would come out. Okay, let's lower that down just a little bit for him. Okay, now we will lower his fuel intake, leave him at neutral driving, and let's see where he comes out. So a lot of cars coming by. The train is coming by. He's going to come out in about 14th. Okay, so not great. So we're at 10th and 15th right now. Still not bad at all. I am pretty pleased with that so far. So we picked up 3 or 4 spots in that whole exchange. So if we can do that same thing this next time, plus maybe get a few passes here and there, we're in good shape for some nice finishes. Maybe not podiums, but some nice finishes nonetheless. All right, so it looks like the tires are running a little bit warm here for both drivers. Let's see, we're in 9th and 15th right now. And now some more pit stops, so we're jumped to 6th and 17th. And now we've just lost one. Let's see if we can get that back. Boy, he's really pushing hard to get that back. And the tire heat isn't exactly where I would like for it to be. I'm going to have them back, or at least Rodriguez back off a little bit here. All right, so we got pit stops happening all over the place right now. But as you can see, we're not ready for pit stops just yet. We're looking for that clean air as everybody else stops. We'll be the last ones to stop on the track, and we'll have that clean air for at least another lap beyond the others. Okay, we've got a few more pit stops happening. Now we're up to 5th and 6th. All right, excellent so far. I'm really liking what we've got. I know you're running out of tires here. Okay, now, this is our last lap here. Let's go ahead and really have him push to the end. And let's go ahead and have him push as well. Okay, now it looks like he's really starting to lose some time. Okay, so we've pushed, let's see, we've still got tires left. But, so that's a little odd. So we're going to go ahead and back way off on the fuel and way off on the tires. Let's set up his pit stop. Fuel options. Let's go ahead and max that out. But again, the reason we're maxing that out is because, I'll tell you what, let's take a little bit off of that to the end of the race, because we don't, I'm getting a little bit worried about our reliability. So I'm going to back off a little bit. Okay, so we're definitely losing a lot of time with Sergio there. And that is going to bring us to Rodriguez. His tire wear is much better right now. All right, let's go ahead and set up his pit stop. Put on fresh rubber here. And he's got 5 laps left. We'll go ahead and do 6 laps of fuel so we can continue to push. And let's see, actually, yeah, everything looks pretty good on him. I'm actually going to go ahead and put in a little bit more fuel so we can push even harder. All right, so let's see. Sergio's going to come out in last. Let's see, Rodriguez. All right, now he is in 5th. And he is going to lose, but we're going to come out at the tail end of this pack. Let's go ahead and redo here. Now, we do want to push as hard as we can with him to the end of the race. And by the same token, we want to push hard and go neutral with Sergio. All right, so we're in 8th and 20th. So not the ideal performance, but that is a big portion my fault with the way I handled Sergio's pit sequence. All right, we got more pit stops happening. Let's see. We'll move up just one spot this time. Only one came in ahead of us. So now we're in 7th and looks like 16th. Okay, so far so good. Again, there'll be more pit stops, I believe, happening, because I don't think we're quite done with those yet. But we may be. In the meantime, we're doing our best to run down as many cars as we can for these final few laps. We're up to 15th with Sergio, and now we've got Rodriguez catching a few cars in front of him. Not sure if we'll have enough time to really get them. All right, so let's go ahead and have Sergio overtake. I didn't realize he had quite that much fuel on board. That's my fault. All right, so we're honing in on 6th here. Looks like he's got some part issues. And I'm not sure what just happened there. All right, so we pick up 6th on the part issue. Let's hope we have a few more of those, actually. All right, so now we're starting our final lap. All right, we're up to 5th, and we're hunting down 4th. First, second, and third are way ahead of us, so we don't have any chance really of catching them. But we're trying to get to 4th. And let's see, are we going to have enough time? No, doesn't look like it. So we're going to finish 5th. And Sergio is looking like he wants to pick up another spot or two. And, oh, no, don't lose that. Okay, so we come home 5th and 8th. Wow, I'll take it. That was a very good race for us. Again, not quite a podium, so we don't get our bonus, which is definitely a bummer. But I'm very pleased with our performance. Wow, that was weird. We just sort of ran through that guy on the track, ran right through the back of him. All right, we'll have to see what this does to us in our point standings. But all in all, a pretty good race. Unfortunately, they can't all be podiums for us. Not at this point yet anyway. But we're getting close with our vehicle performance. Okay, we have a medium risk, and let's hope we can slide by. Oh, great. So they found something. Man, we're not having any luck here with their scrutineering. So let's see what happens. We're down to 5th and 10th. So it was Sergio that got caught. So, okay, not terrible, 5th and 10th. We'll take it. The bad thing is that set of brakes are now gone and can no longer be used, so we'll have to start fresh there. All right, team championship. We are now on top. Wow, by a nice margin. That is a nice cushion that we are on top. That is exactly what I like to see. Let's go ahead and move up to the morale screen. And looks like 180%. Okay, so everything is good there. And once again, our stats continue to increase. It says that we came in 3rd, which I suppose is possible. I didn't really pay that much attention to it. All I know is that we're in 1st place overall. So we lost a little bit of happiness there and a touch of marketability, but overall, I would say no problem at all. We only gained 98,000 for this race, leaving us at just over $500,000 because we just missed out on our top 3 finish. But again, not the end of the world. We'll keep working on it. Now we know what we've got to work on for the next race, which is brakes. So thanks once again for joining me in our Let's Play series, and stay tuned for more Motorsport Manager.